Focusing on the international illicit drug trade, analyze the factors that have prompted the global expansion in this activity. You may focus on a particular narcotic, organic or inorganic, that is currently illegal. Assess whether the current global drug prohibition regime is taking an effective approach to combat it. In the person of Mr. Roland Eramteti. Let's look at the structure of the work. The structure comes in the form, introduction and background, understanding the global illicit economy, factors responsible for its expansion, global drugs prohibition regime, reasons for the persistence of illicit drug trade, conclusion, and the bibliography. Let's start by looking at the introduction and background. This presentation examines the worldwide illegal drug trade and focuses on cocaine. In this presentation, we will focus on cocaine as an illegal drug which is produced and traded globally. Identify causes that have fueled the growth of the trade and assess the existing global drug prohibition regime's success in combating the problem. We shall look at the rules that were used to control these illegal trade activities and also how it succeeded in reducing such activities. On the screen is a pictorial representation of cocaine, which is the illicit drug I'm using as a focus in this presentation. Understanding the global illicit economy. According to Point Park University, the worldwide illicit market is growing due to consumers wanting unlawful items or wanting to trade outside of official rules. This could be explained as the rise in demand brought about black markets where dangerous commodities are being sold. That is because illegal drugs can be sold out openly. They manage a backdoor market to promote and sell these goods. According to the Global Initiative Against Transnational Organized Crime, 2021, the worldwide illegal market is so lucrative that millions are made enriching the benefiting those directly engaged in. Basically, people engaged in the production and trading of these illegal substances, such as cocaine, tend to make a lot of money to enrich themselves. An example of such persons is Pablo Escobar, who was Colombian drug lord and narco-terrorist who was the founder and sole leader of the Medellin cartel. It was estimated that Pablo Escobar earns about $420 million every week. From this, we can deduce that drug business is very lucrative. Also, forensic operations have flourished due to the fourth industrial revolution, according to the Global Initiative Against Transnational Organized Crime. That is to say that development of new technologies and means of commodities facilitates the trade activities. The world has become a global village, making moving cocaine and other illicit drugs around easily. The United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime revealed that West Africa was being exploited as a transit point for cocaine reaching Western Europe. This is a World Drug Report 2005. New ways of transportation were deployed and Africa was not left out. Because Africa is strategically located between Asia and Europe, they make use of the route to ensure easy delivery of this illicit drug to other parts of the world, Western Europe. Yeah. Let's move on to look at the factors responsible for its expansion. What have caused the illegal trade of these illicit drugs to expand? Globalization and technological advancement. So advancement in technological devices, payment methods also contribute to the expansion of the illicit drug trade because they have new sophisticated machines and devices, communication means, so it makes it easier for this illicit business to move on. The economic component, UN Office on Drug and Crime, 2008. This can be discussed on numerous levels. Economic condition of people, that is people in parts of the world, example, Africa, live in poverty, which makes it easier for drug dealers to employ them, hence the expansion of drug business. We also have lucrative markets. The cocaine business is profitable in nature since its demands is high, hence attracting people to engage in the illegal production and selling of these illicit drugs. The changing mode of production. The move from botanical to synthetic made dependence on crop production line monitoring tougher. So when they were using crops in manufacturing these drugs, people they were able to trace them and trace the crop production line. But since the production has moved from this botanical to synthetic, it has made it tough for crop production line monitoring. Retail markets too shifted to dark web and the usage of sophisticated technologies like drones to transport and deliver these goods to the people that have been demanding them has made it very difficult for them to be traced. Let's look at the global drug prohibition regimes. So the global drug prohibition regime came about as a result of the detrimental effects of illegal drugs on human health and the global economy. Many international regulations exist to regulate the trade of narcotics like cocaine. These laws are embodied in the UN policy and treaties. So let's look at the the 1961 UN Single Convention. What does it say? So the 1961 UN Single Convention, it defines a number of drugs as illegal according to the level of harm it causes to its consumers. Cocaine, for example, is governed by the 1961 UN Single Convention. THC, the main psychoactive component of cannabis, is also controlled under the 1961 Convention. So this is one of the regimes that were made to control or prohibit the use of illicit drugs such as cocaine. We also have the 1971 UN Convention on Psychotropic Substances. So the 1971 UN Convention on Psychotropic Substances is also one of the prohibition regimes laid down to control the increasing spate of stimulant use. Amphetamines, for example, are governed by the 1971 UN Convention. Cannabis can be cited as an illicit drug being governed by the 1971 UN Convention. We have the 1988 UN Convention against illicit traffic in narcotic drugs and psychotropic substances. The 1988 UN Convention against illicit traffic in narcotic drugs and psychotropic substances came about as the usage and illegal production and trading of these drugs persisted despite the law that have been enacted to govern their activities. The UN Convention against illicit traffic in narcotic drugs and psychotropic substances required countries to adopt criminal sanctions for activities relating to the production, supply, trafficking, and usage of these drugs. So actions have been taken along so the people that produce and consume this drug, if you are being caught, they have sanctions and activity related to this production that will deter you from engaging in this kind of production. Let's look at the reasons for the persistence of illegal drug trade. So aside all these measures that have been put in place, the laws that have been enacted, they are still persisting. A lot of people still engage in this activity. So we ask ourselves, why are they still engaging in these activities? One of the reasons why they still engage in these activities is increased sophistication of traffickers. So the use of technology in the illegal drug market marks in the illegal drug, the use of technologies in illegal drug market makes detection and enforcement difficult. With the use of delivery drones and the transition from physical to online contacts and transactions, legal enforcement against dealers is tough and out of reach. This is so simple, like increase on sophistication, because people now use online transactions, people use Bitcoin, people pay with NFTs. So they are not being able to trace. For example, if you pay with Bitcoin like this, if you pay someone with Bitcoin, the transaction is not being able to, they can't trace the transaction because it's your private wallet end-to-end encrypted. So it makes it more difficult for the security system to get hold of or close down on these illicit drug traders. Also, continuous inequality or unemployment. Inequality does not seem to be going soon. Yes, many people are still living in poverty and many fleeing war zones. This has been a lot of damage. This has been a lot. There have been a lot of damage in Ukraine because of Russia's invasion recently. When people are poor, the temptation to do illegal things like drug trafficking is very high. So people are being displaced. People are being sacked at gunpoint. People are running away from their properties in Ukraine. So these people all become very poor and may engage in other activities to survive. So they can be tempted to also engage in what? Illicit drug trafficking or trading. You have weak border control in key areas. Corruption, poverty, and low salary makes it simple to bribe officers, making the transportation of narcotics across borders relatively simple. Key, key drug transportation routes have been discovered in West and East Africa. For example, East and West Africa has been noted as areas of corruption and poverty and low wages too. So these areas are prone, these officers in this area are prone to accepting bribe from people that use that trade in illicit drugs across the borders and vantage points. So they might facilitate their way or their route to deliver their goods to other people across around the world. Yes. We also have existence of system maintaining the trade. So rather than making the task of the drug traders tough, the procedure that are in place actually makes things worse for the regulators. So the regulators are rather finding it difficult to close down on the drug dealers. The seeming survival of the drug system is due to the availability of services such as banking. Banking services make it easier for them, real estate, and even legal services that provide security for these drug dealers. Above is a pictorial representation of a weak border control in transit areas in West Africa. Such border control, they have less security, and because of the low wages of the security system, they compromise and allow the passage of this drug trade to people that are dealing in drug business to pass through and send their goods across the world. This is also promoting the the persistent. This is also a reason why the persistent drug trade still continue aside all the rules and laws. This is a pictorial representation of Ukrainians fleeing from their country out of the aggression of Russia, and many of these people have left their properties behind and have left empty-handed. Poverty, pain, and hunger might cause some of these people to engage in illicit drug trade to survive, because they need to survive too. Let's look at the conclusion. In conclusion, the worldwide illicit drug trade will continue to thrive if rules do not address the major drivers of its growth. Combating poverty is in impoverished areas of the world can significantly lessen the drivers of the desire to enter the illegal drug trade. So when we are not able to combat poverty or to control poverty, making sure that there is equitable distribution of goods and services of in the locality or the society, this might continue. The illegal trade of illicit drugs may continue because there is no equitable distribution of goods and services, as well as quickly devising ways to handle the trade's technical growth and sophistication. So if we are not able to control the technical advancement, we may not be able to conclude or to lock down on the illicit drug trade. This is the bibliography of the work.